Hello and welcome to your tarot reading, Gemini. Today we're going to look at all the messages that you need to know about 2023. So let's start off with the very first card that we have for you, Gemini, which is this Temple card with number 39 on it. And this card tells me that for you, Gemini, one major theme of your previous year or one thing that you've really connected deeply with is this idea of what are the things in your life that you worship, which means what are your priorities in life, what are these things that you hold really dear to your heart and you value. And I'm seeing that for a lot of you Gemini signs, maybe the past year has been a lot about re-evaluation. You have understood, you've tried to understand yourself on a much more deeper level, and things such as what is it that you stand for, what do you believe in, and what are your personal priorities in life. And I'm seeing that there is a lot of re-evaluation that has taken place with that. And since I was just mentioning what are these things that you hold dearest to your heart, closest to your heart, and with this green color being present in this card, it tells me that there has been an activation of your heart chakra in the previous year where you have come to this understanding and this acceptance of what are the things that truly fulfill you and nourish you. Because with this green imagery here, these plants that we have in this card, I'm getting a sense of you have left behind things that don't nurture your soul anymore. So maybe it could have been, a lot of different things for you Gemini signs. Maybe it was about certain connections in your life, or just your idea of how you viewed connections in the past and what you were deriving out of it. I'm seeing that for you, that priority has changed a lot. You have begun to understand that relationships are not just about being with someone, being getting this sense that you are desired and there is someone who's attracted to you, but now you're trying to understand that relationships are a lot more deeper than that. And it's not about just a momentary connection that you share with someone, but you are beginning to understand and question that what are these things that this other person adds on in my life. So I'm seeing that overall you've really grown a lot. You've really been questioning what are the things that matter in my life, what are the things that I want to hold on to. And even if there are certain things that you value a lot, for example friendships or connections, and maybe in the past a priority for you could have been academic validation. So now you've started to step away from that idea of pushing yourself too hard to the point that you end up isolating yourself from everyone. And in general, it could be different things for a lot of you in this who has Gemini signs. Maybe there are other things that you have understood that I need to let go of this, or perhaps my views or ideas on this earlier were a bit different, but now I'm getting to understand things on a much more different and a much more deeper level. And finally, with the temple card, our bodies are also the temples that we all inhabit. So maybe for some of you, if you have neglected your physical health and well-being in the past year, then maybe right now in 2023 that could be a major thing for you to focus on. That how can you first of all learn to love and accept your bodies, your physical being, this physical body of yours that nourishes you, that keeps you going, and how can you be kinder and gentler towards it and also nourish it in the best way possible. And at the same time, some of you, if you feel that you have lacked taking care of your spiritual health and giving yourself time for maybe meditation or spending some quality time in nature, as I said with this green color in the card, or whatever it is that truly nourishes you, that gives you a sense of inner peace. I'm seeing all of you Gemini signs aligning with that much more deeper in the coming year. And with that, let's also go to your tarot cards and see the messages that we have. The first card that I have pulled out for you is your previous year in summary and what did that look like. So for you, we have the Seven of Cups card here, and this tells me that the last year for you might have been a lot about choices. This really aligns with what I was saying earlier with deciding what your priorities are, because sometimes in life we get all these different choices in front of us. There are a lot of these things that seem really appealing to us, and then we have to make a choice that what are these things that I value more. For example, if you have gone through a recent change in your life and you were made to decide your priorities all over again. That do I prioritize my own me time and the time that I give for my self care, or do I use that time to socialize with others, connect with others? And at the same time, it could have been about enjoying other luxuries in life, having a good time, having a fun time. And sometimes it can also be that there are some inner confrontations that take place, that you are confronted with your own needs and desires, and whether your life at the moment is aligned with those things or not. So, with the Seven of Cups coming out as a card about major lessons from the previous year, I'm seeing that you have emerged from this cloudy or muddy thinking about not knowing what to choose, what to take, and what to let go of. You've moved away from that into a much more like, I'm seeing you gaining a lot more clarity about your own values, your own purpose, and just getting a better idea about what in your life are you going to invest more of your energy in. And I'm seeing that you are emerging out of it. And this, this has also, because this is a cups card, this also has a lot to do with your own emotional well-being, your own satisfaction, and something that nourishes your soul and your spirit. So you are letting go of these things that are just on the surface, or maybe superficial connections, superficial desires, and you are letting go of that. You're leaving that behind in the previous year, and you're stepping into this new year with a renewed and a refreshed sense of what are your values and what are the things that you want to pursue and you want to take forward. And one more thing with the Seven of Cups, I'm seeing that a lot of illusion is fading away. So if there are certain things that seemed really attractive in the past, so for example, you were making a major life change, or you were deciding which path to take, and maybe something on the surface seemed really appealing and you envisioned your life in a certain way, but as you made that decision, as you started walking on that path, a lot of that, like the rose tinted glasses, whether it's stepping into a new connection, and we have all these visions about just the flowery stuff, all this lovey dovey stuff, and that's how we picture that the entire relationship would just be like that. But as you spend more time with that person, with that connection, some of these illusions begin to fade away, and you start to see the situation in a much more realistic sense. And even if it's path that you've chosen, for example, you thought that by making getting accepted into a certain sort of academic setup, or a job that you really wanted, or an opportunity that seemed that this is the best thing out there, but being in it, now you're realizing that things, you have to see things in a much more holistic and a realistic manner. And yes, there are some positive signs to it, there are still some luxuries and things that are serving you, but at the same time, there are also these certain things which might be unhealthy, which might not be the best, and you're just getting a very real and a holistic picture of whatever path you are on currently. And then let's move on to the next card, which is about what are the lessons that you have learned from this previous year and the experiences that you had. And the card that we have for you is this Tower card. And with the Tower, I can definitely see and also confirm what I was saying earlier about having gone through a major life change. So there is, you know, with this card, I see that you had to completely step outside of your comfort zone, step into an entirely new territory, and you had to adjust with that situation all over again. And Gemini signs, I just want to commend you for the strength it took to go through this difficult experience, when your entire worldview, for example, or your entire environment, or the path that you were on, or just this comfort and support system that you had around you, if that got disrupted in the past year, then just acknowledge the strength that it took from within to endure that situation and to go through that situation. And the Tower card coming here not as a challenge but as a lesson or a blessing is actually really positive, because this tells me that now that you have gone through this shift, for some of you this shift might have been a thing of the past. For example, it happened either at the beginning or the first half of the year, and now you have begun to make adjustments that were necessary, or you've learned to cope with this change that took place in your life. And that's why this card is coming here as a blessing, because you've truly transformed yourself into a new person. And whenever, like, you need to remind yourself that we are not static beings. Like, we won't ever remain the same at every single stage of our lives. We go through certain life challenges, we go through certain experiences, we learn from that, we mature from that. And as we go through these experiences, we inevitably end up becoming different versions of ourselves. And as we change, as we mature, as we grow, our priorities, our values, our needs and expectations, those might also end up changing. And I'm seeing just this theme of change being something that is going to carry forward in the next year also. And not to say that it's going to be something disruptive, but just that you, by going through this change, you're getting to know yourself much more, and on a much more deeper level, you're understanding yourself, what you truly stand for, and you are also deciding the direction that you want to lead your life into by setting better foundations. And with this better foundations, I mean that you, like, as I said, that don't make a choice out of just what seems appealing on the surface. Think about it a little bit more deeper, and if there is a newfound sense of clarity that you've just received, maybe, then use that clarity to make better decisions moving forward. And make sure any decision that you make in the next year, make sure that's not coming from a place of fear or uncertainty. Rather, make sure that these decisions are coming from well thought out plans, and you are not choosing something just because it seems appealing on a surface, but because you know that that path is going to nurture your creative spirit, your soul, and also taking into account your heart, your own healing, your own spiritual growth. And with that, let's look at what are the aspirations that you have, or what are these big dreams or goals that you're achieving within the next 12 months, within the next year. And for you, we have the High Priestess card, and this is exactly what I was saying with investing more and spending more time and energy into your own spiritual growth, your own spiritual healing, and connecting a bit deeper with. I see this almost as a, whatever cards that we've seen so far, there's an illusion that is breaking, there is a veil that is dropping, so you are seeing the truth of a situation in a much more deeper level. And you are understanding that maybe there are some decisions that you took in the past which came from a place of immaturity or just not having enough information, and now you're coming across as this really empowered being who trusts their intuition. You are going to understand that your higher self knows best, and you can trust your intuition to help you make decisions moving forward. And with the High Priestess card, I can also see that you are overall investing so much more in your inner peace, inner growth. A lot of you might be stepping a bit inward, withdrawing your energies from things that are external, and then finding out what is it from within that gives you a lot of joy and a lot of peace. And maybe some this might only apply for some of you, but if at any point in the past year, if material success or wealth, if that was a main priority for you, now you're realizing that yes, it's okay to have that as a goal, but your main motivation cannot always be extrinsic or from the outside. That you cannot sustain or you cannot keep going only if your motivation is something that you're getting from outside, but you have to also make decisions out of this intrinsic sense of motivation. That what is this purpose that makes you get up every morning, that makes you do the things that truly nurture you. And I'm just thinking of the book Ikigai right now, with the idea of purpose that the book mentions, and even just this whole sense of what is it truly that keeps you going every morning, that makes you wake up and go through all the responsibilities that you have, that to go through all these challenges that might be put up in your path forward. And when you connect with that person, that's when you can truly connect yourself with your higher purpose, align with that path, and it'll give you not only just that inner peace, but it'll also lead you towards a path where you can create that abundance externally as well for you. So make sure you're having that sense of balance, you're looking within, you are introspecting a little bit, you're reflecting on this past year and what it has taught you, and on the basis of that you're planning your year forward. And just make sure that in whenever you're planning for your year forward, you are also giving yourself enough time to think about what are the things that you need to do for your own soul, for your own spirit, for your own inner peace and growth. And let's look at the next card, which is about what is going to help you, what are the blessings that are coming forward, or aspirations that are going to achieve this dream, or any goals that you set for yourself. And for that we have the three of swords card. So now it's interesting that this card is coming here as a blessing, opportunity, or something that's going to help you moving forward, because we see the three of swords typically as a card about heartbreak, about grief, and about being deeply hurt and disappointed and then going through that expectation. But as I said, for you, the past year has all been about change and transformation and things just turning around rapidly. And maybe on some level, whether it's an actual heartbreak that you're experiencing, or maybe, as I was saying earlier, that some path, some decision, some connection, something in your life, some decision that you made, some choice that you had made in your life, maybe that seemed really appealing on the surface, and that's you didn't see any harm in that starting when you were just starting off, and now you're realizing that maybe that thing, that situation was not entirely the best for you, and now you're learning to tell yourself that yes, sometimes there are going to be certain choices that you make which seem really appealing on the surface, but then that illusion eventually breaks down. And when that happens, obviously it's not going to be a very easy path, because you have to shift your perspective a little bit. You have to start seeing things in a new perspective, in a new way. And this three of swords here tells me that for you, Gemini sign, moving forward in the next year, you are going to understand that not everything is going to work out in your favor, and there are going to be some disappointments. But then how can you, as I was saying with this high priestess card, that you are this person who is so empowered, you are this empowered soul who has a very strong sense of intuition, and you are very much aligned with the universe, with the spirit. And for a lot of you, maybe you see a lot of signs and synchronicities in your own life, and you take these as signs to make certain decisions. And now you're understanding that there is this hurt that is also required to empower us, because this card is talking all about what what is going to empower you in this path. And when this illusion breaks off, when we go through that disappointment, in that moment things might seem really challenging, but as you move on from that experience, you're going to realize, and you're going to thank even that lesson for being in your path, because it is going to shape you into the kind of person that you end up becoming, and the person that is so empowered that you can go through any other challenge that life might throw in your life, or life might place in your life. And with this three of swords, I'm also seeing, because we have this air energy in this card, for some of you this might not be an actual heartbreak in the sense of relationships or connections, but this could be about our thoughts and our perceptions, that maybe you were thinking about situation, a connection, a person in a certain manner, and you were only looking at that situation through rose tinted glasses, and it seemed like the best thing in your life. But as you walk down on that path a little bit more, you realize that maybe it wasn't as good as I was imagining, and on some levels maybe that decision, that path that you've chosen is also hurting you a little bit. And now you're coming to terms with it, that how is it that this is something that I wanted to attract in my life, and now that very thing itself is giving me so much hurt and pain. But as you go through that experience, you'll realize that even that hurt and pain is empowering you so much to build up your own resilience, your own emotional strength, and your own capabilities to go through any challenges that life might place in your way. And make sure that as you go through this path, through this journey, you're also using your own intuitive knowledge and this wisdom that you possess to help you through these challenges. And also, one major message here, because we also had the temple, that is about faith, whatever kind of faith that you might have, but also hope to some extent. Then remember that even as you go proceed with your journey in the next year, remember that you are not alone. Even if things might seem so, or even if it seems that people around you are not the exact kind of support that you need in your life. But remember that your own higher self is always there with you to guide you on this path. And whatever it is that you have faith in, whether that's the universe, spirit, or any other faith that you might have, just connect with that a little bit deeper and remind yourself that you're not alone, even if things might seem so in the moment. And the next card that we have for you is, what is a potential challenge or obstacle that you need to be aware of and prepare yourself about? And with that, we have the Two of Pentacles. And this tells me that I'm not seeing any major conflict or chaos in your year moving forward, but the only challenge that might come is out of this decision that you have to make, where you have to evaluate between two or more options. And this is exactly what I was saying with the Seven of Cups card, that yes, there might be certain things that seem really appealing on the surface, some choices which you feel are going to be more beneficial for you, and for a lot of you this decision could have something to do with your career or your academics, in terms of what path to take next, where do I go next, what option do I opt for, or maybe any other decision on your life in your life that has some financial implications attached to it, and now you are in a mode of deciding what path to take, what is going to be the best for me, and it's going to be a period of a little confusion and chaos. And one message that I see with the Two of Pentacles is that yes, the focus of the conflict or the decision here is this Two Pentacles, or these two choices that we have to make. But if you look at the background in this card, we have this water element, or the waves in the background, that the person here is not paying full attention to. So one guidance for you is, whenever this moment comes to make a decision between two choices and to decide what option is going to be the best for you, then yes, have a rational and a logical plan, and think of things in because obviously if it has some major implications in your finances, in your practical stability and security, you have to be careful about that. But even in that situation, you cannot ignore this element of water, or your own emotions and your intuition when you're making this decision. So one thing that I want to relay this message from the universe, from the spirit, is, when this decision making moment comes in your life, and maybe there are a lot of choices that you're again faced with, in that moment, truly give yourself the moment to connect with the energy of this temple, which is understanding, first of all, what all have you learned about your own self in this past year, about your own priorities, about your own values. And maybe there might be an impulse or a tendency to go ahead with the path similar to a past version of yourself. So for example, the past version of yourself wanted acceptance or validation or something external to help guide your decisions, and maybe because of that you chose a certain path. But now you're realizing that just that external validation might have lasted just for a brief moment, and now you're left with questioning about whether this path is right for me, and whether it is truly sustaining my soul or not. And now that you are at this point, or if you reach that point eventually in the coming year, that's when you have to connect with this temple energy of leaving aside all illusions or expectations that we have externally, but going inwards, going deeper, and questioning on a much more deeper level, that who am I? What are my values and priorities? What is my purpose? And what is going to help me the most to reach there? And that insight that comes from within is going to help you a lot in this decision going forward. So, for some of you, this decision could have something to do with which country to go to, which university to apply to, which job to apply for, where am I going to relocate, where I'm going to move to, or any of these significant decisions in your life that is going to be a turning point that decides the next chapter in your life. And in that moment it can seem a lot overwhelming, but as I said, the with the high priestess energy, I see you, Gemini signs, as having this inner wisdom that is going to help you, and it's going to give you the signs that help you reach the best path in your life moving forward. And we have two cards with the number 2 on it, so maybe 2 could be a significant sign. And if you ever see that those numbers come across in your path, that could just be a confirmation that you are aligned. But overall, 2 is all about decisions, multiple options, and it's also about union. So for some of you, this decision could have something to do with the relationship. So for example, you meet someone, you have a very significant connection with them, and then you're questioning that, can I make a big enough decision in my personal life just to be with that person? Is it worth it? Can I follow that connection that feels so fulfilling for me? Or are you going to make the more so-called practical or rational decision? So that is when you have to listen to your heart. You have to make sure that you're listening to your intuition and balancing that decision with the practical actions that you have to take. And with that, we have the final card that is about your relationships and what you need to be aware of. And for you, we have the Nine of Cups card. And it's interesting that your reading is starting off with the Cups card and ending with the Cups card. So I'm seeing that your year overall, all next year 2023, is going to be all about your own emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. You are going to stop focusing externally on just external validation, or what are the expectations out of you from society, from family, from friends, from peers, everything. And you are traveling inward, you're walking inward, you're connecting with your own sense of purpose, with things that are the best for you. You're aligning with that on a much more deeper level. And then you're finally reaching a stage where you feel this sense of emotional fulfillment, and you feel that you have achieved something. And this sense of achievement is very different from an external achievement where you are being rewarded for something or other people are recognizing you. But this specific kind of achievement is something which comes from within, that you truly feel proud of where you are in life and what all you've done and what all you've achieved. And overall, I'm seeing that, continue to have faith. You are going to get all your desired outcomes, your desired manifestations are coming true. But overall, in this reading, the main message that I'm seeing is that there's a lot of spiritual growth and healing that is taking place for you. And there's some choices that you have to make, but it's your own intuition that is going to guide you better in those choices moving forward. And let's end your reading with the final angel card that we have for you, Gemini signs. And it's so interesting that this is the card that we have. So if you want, you can take a moment to take a screenshot, save this card for later on if you want to, along with the affirmation. But it's so interesting that we have the hope card, because all these messages that I was saying about restoring a sense of faith and hope, and all these transformations or changes that have taken place in your life, or maybe moments that have left you a bit heartbroken and feeling alone, as if you're alone on this journey. So now you are gaining this sense of hope once again, that that you're not alone in this journey. And even these challenges, and it might sound really cliched, but whenever there is a challenge that is placed in our path, it's only because we have the resources in that moment, or we can build those resources to go through those challenges. And I'm seeing you come out of this entire experience so much more resilient, so much more empowered and equipped to take on the challenge that might come in your path. And with the hope card, it says, the hope card right here says that the sun is about to come out in an area of your life. So there is a renewed, fresh sense of hope that's coming. You are becoming so much more resilient and powerful that you can make all your dreams and visions turn into reality. So just, and I want to focus on this specific line that is there in the hope card, which says, remember the Remember, the universe wants you to have your heart's desire. It's simply waiting for you to believe what you deserve, and before the angels bring it to you. So maybe there is a very big dream or a vision that you have, and you keep questioning, or you keep asking yourself that, am I even worthy of that? Am I even capable enough to have that dream of mine fulfilled? And the universe wants to remind you that once you really accept that, yes, I am deserving of my dreams and my visions, that's when the universe is going to land all these opportunities in your path that will make you fulfill all of your dreams. And that's what we are also seeing with the Nine of Cups card, about the sense of accomplishment and achievement. And just, with this hope, it's not always about that you're going to completely turn a blind eye to the challenges that are in your path. And hope is not about uh toxic positivity, or unrealistic optimism. Rather, hope is about looking back at your own life so far and reflecting on the difficult moments that were in your path, but you still made through those challenges. And those your own life events are going to act as an evidence or an example for you that there is faith even through the most difficult path that you might be in, or these most difficult challenges that might be placed in your path. And hope is also about knowing that you are not alone, knowing that there is support from the universe, and at any point that you feel that that you're by yourself, just tell the universe to give you a sign. If signs and synchronicities are something that you believe in, and if the universe keeps showing you that, and maybe even the number 39, so which comes down to um 12, or 2 plus 1 3, so 3 as a number overall, 3 or 12, the number could be significant for you. And since we're talking about 2023, maybe the months of March and December could be significant for you moving forward. And overall, I want to end this reading on this affirmation that you can say to yourself, or even comment down below to claim all these messages in the reading. The affirmation that we have for you is, I am eternally optimistic. So keep this sense of optimism and hope reignited within you. Keep this alive within you, and you're going to reach all your best outcomes. And thank you so much for joining me for this reading Gemini signs. And remember, I'm also going to post all the other zodiac signs, so you can also check out your moon and rising signs as well. So, sending you a lot of love, light, and power, Gemini signs. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I post regular pick a card readings, which you can check out on my channel. So, bye bye, and I'll see you in my next reading.